Hey, Brian. Yeah, Brian? So what'd you think about the house? Yeah, I love it. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, I know you're pre-approved. So what do you think about putting an offer? Yeah, since I am pre-approved, let's definitely go back and put an offer in on it. Great, great. Let's go back to the office and do that. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Southern Maryland Real Estate, Business, and Life YouTube channel. I'm Brian Umbach. I'm a Southern Maryland-based real estate agent with Real Broker.
And I'm Emily Johnson, a loan originator with First Home Mortgage.
Today we're going to talk about the pre-approval and pre-approval process for your mortgage. So Emily, I know this is a very important step in the home purchase process that we talked about a little bit before, because you really have to know what you're qualified for before you go look at $1 million house, but you're only qualified for $400,000. So can you tell us a little bit about the process and how you go about making sure someone's pre-approved for a mortgage?
Sure. So typically what I do is I prefer to have a phone consultation or a video call with my clients to kind of get an idea of what they're looking for and what their goals are, not only short term, but also long term. How long do you plan on staying in this house? What are your goals? Do you want it to turn into an investment property down the road? Or is it just going to be your primary residence for a couple years? So I jump on a call with them. I do an application. The application goes over their general information, of course, your social security number, your date of birth, where do you work at, how long have you worked there for, and where do you currently live at. After that, we do a credit pull. So there are two different types of credit pulls. You can either do a hard pull or a soft pull. The soft pull has no impact on your score. It is just to give us an idea of what's going on, what's your score look like. And then we do a hard pull once you're about to put an offer in on a house. The hard pull is good for 120 days, which means your pre-approval is good for 120 days. So a lot of people are nervous about having their credit pulled. And what I always say is, would you take your car to the mechanic and not have them look underneath of the hood? No, that doesn't make sense. Same thing for me. You're not going to buy a house unless we can look under the hood, see what your credit score is, and see what your debt is, because that helps us determine what your debt to income ratio is. Meaning how much can you qualify for, how much can you afford with your current income and your current monthly expenses. So after we determine what your credit score is, we also request some documents like pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, bank statements to kind of see what are we working with. Does your income line up with what you told me on the application? And how much money do you have in the bank to actually put towards the purchase of your house? So once I review all of those documents, that kind of gives me a better idea of how much you can qualify for, how much money do you make, and what loan type is best for you.
So do you feel they should have the documents ready ahead of time before reaching out to you? Or do you feel that they can get them after they reach out to you?
So honestly, either one works for me. It is definitely quicker of a process if they have all of their things put together beforehand and they can send it to me right after we get the application done. Because if I have the documents right away, I can complete the pre-approval pretty quickly. And that's one of the #1 questions I get is, how long does this take? If you have all of your stuff to me, right after we're done doing the application, I can get back to you within 24 hours, sometimes even less. So it just depends. But some people don't know what they need until after they talk to me. And if that's the case, that's okay. Just work on getting the things to me as soon as you can, and then we can go from there. So with self-employed borrowers, it is a little bit more in depth. We have to take a look at your tax returns, if you have a K-1 because you own the business. So it is a little bit more in depth, and I love it. It's a puzzle that I get to figure out and put different pieces together to determine what your income is. So we take a look at what is your payment structure. So are you regular W-2, are you 1099, or are you self-employed? And that kind of helps me determine what your income is for qualifying purposes. So once we take a look at everything, I will put together some loan options for you, send them to you to review, and then you can determine whether or not, like, yes, I'm happy with this monthly payment, or no, it's a little bit more than what I would have hoped to pay for, and we can kind of restructure and go from there. We'll also talk about ways to pay for your closing costs. So are we going to do a down payment assistance program? Are we going to ask for seller credit, meaning is the seller going to give you funds to help pay for those closing costs? Or 3, can you get a gift? So we'll take a look at all of that, kind of review everything together and go from there.
All right, so Emily, after they're happy with their loan options and you've gone through the pre-approval, what happens next?
So after that, I turn you back to your agent and you guys start house hunting.
So after Emily sends you back over to me and we have that price that you're pre-approved to purchase a home at, that's where we're going to kind of narrow down our search parameters of, Are you looking for a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, or maybe 6-bedroom, 4-bath? And we'll have that price range to know what we can look for in that area. So, and just because you're pre-approved for, let's say, $1.2 million, doesn't mean you have to buy a $1.2 million house. If you're looking for maybe a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that's a vacation home, maybe it's only $400,000 or $500,000. And I say only, but that's still a lot of money. But you don't have to spend what you're pre-approved for. You can obviously spend less, knowing that you're able to go up or down if you need to.
So as you're out looking at houses with your agent and you find a property at 123 Main Street that you love, and it's around the price point that you were looking at, you can send me the address and I will send you updated estimates. That way the buyer can see more in depth and a better idea of what the monthly payment is actually going to be and what the cash to close is. So once you're happy with everything and you find a house that you actually want to put an offer in on, then I will send you a pre-qualification letter. The pre-qualification letter goes on top of the offer, and it just says that I have personally reviewed your file, reviewed your documents, and your file has been run through the automatic underwriting system and you're good to go. Another thing about my job is I call the listing agent on behalf of the buyer and let them know that I did my job, that you are good to go, your ratios look great, and the financing isn't going to be a problem on your deal. So that's just another asset that I bring to my clients to help them hopefully win a contract.
Calling the sellers to actually let them know that yes, you are qualified for this amount of a loan and everything looks good. Because in today's market, as we are here in 2023, it's important for the sellers to know that, yes, you are qualified for this amount, because they may get 3 or 4 offers and they're gonna select which one they feel is best for them. And it's not always gonna be the highest price. I'll give you an example. When I sold my house in Woodbridge, Virginia, it was on the market October 31st, November 1st, I had 5 offers. And actually, I took the first offer, which was for the asking amount, but they wanted to close in 13 days. They were putting about half the money down on the house, and their financing looked great, obviously, with putting that amount of money down on a house. So I took that offer over other ones that the financing might have been questionable. The peace of mind of we're going to close in 13 to 14 days, the financing good, and the chances of anything falling through were slim. There's always that chance, so I'm not going to say none. So having Emily call the buyer's agent and letting them know, or the seller's agent, sorry, having Emily call the seller's agent and letting them know, hey, the financing looks good, is very important to us, hopefully being able to get our contract in place with the sellers.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to using a local lender and a local agent, is having that connection, because it's more likely that I know the listing agent or someone within First Home Mortgage knows the listing agent. One of the things we rely heavily on in our office is reaching out to another LO and saying, hey, I know you have a relationship with Sam Johnson, who works for Keller Williams. I have a buyer that's offering on her house. Do you mind calling and putting in a good word for me before I give them a call? So that's one of the things we do, but it's all about relationship and who knows who. And if we can, use a local lender, use local agents, and everyone knows each other and you know how well you work together, the chances of getting your offer accepted are much higher than using an online lender who doesn't know anyone in the area. So
absolutely. And the reason I'm doing this video series with Emily is, is there a competition out there as real estate agents and as loan originators? Absolutely. But we have the same mindset of, yes, there's competition, but we want everyone to be successful, and that helps us also want to give the absolute best customer service we can to our clients. And so competition is good, but not everybody looks at it that way.
Yeah, definitely.